Chapter 12, Understanding Elections. Our focus today will be on understanding elections, and I suggest you pause the video and open up the accompanying worksheet. This will allow you to multitask without having to go back a second time and rewatch the video. Keep in mind that despite the fact that voting gives Americans a chance to participate in their government, not everyone votes. So you decide that you want to run for office. The first step is campaign planning. Election campaigns are an important part of the electoral process at any level of government, including the local, state, and federal levels. A campaign helps voters get to know the candidates and informs the public about each party's platform. However, not every candidate has their platform used. Sometimes it's the party that initiates the platform onto the candidate. Behind every good candidate is a campaign team. Our first member of the campaign team is the campaign manager. It is their job to coordinate and oversee the entire campaign. Their responsibilities include developing and executing the campaign plan, supervising other key staff and resolve differences amongst them, and thirdly, present ideas or changes to the candidate for approval. Every campaign needs money, and that money comes from the finance chair. These people are in charge of raising money to pay for the campaign. Most campaigns are done through fundraising. Most of us know what fundraising is. Most fundraisers are dinners in which people pay large sums of money in order to have dinner with that candidate. They also have meet and greets that you pay to go and see. There are also things called political action committees or PACs that also contribute to the candidate's campaign. And this is usually done by groups of people or business workers who get together and pool their money to support a single candidate so that their issues or voices are heard. The pollster is a very important person when it comes to any good campaign. Their job is to go out and ask questions to the people to find out exactly what the people want, what they value, or what they desire. And it is then the candidate's job to make sure that those people have their voices heard, whether it's in the majority or the minority. So even though the majority says they all want something, a good candidate will listen to the minority and give them something in return. And that, of course, is what makes a candidate very popular. The media coordinator is responsible for getting the candidate's message to the greatest number of supporters possible. They can do this through billboards, texting, flyers, yard signs, television ads, radio, any form of mass communication that you can think of. In fact, 10 seconds ago, my phone went off, and it was from one of the presidential candidates sending me a message. Please vote for me. Please donate to me. And you will see as the election gets closer, when you're eligible to vote, you will receive these nonstop. And they can be annoying. The media coordinator also handles all paid advertising. So those advertisements that you see on YouTube, that you see on, excuse me, that you see on the television, the media coordinator is responsible for these as well, and they are also they also are responsible for setting up speeches, rallies, debates, and any other event that that candidate may attend. The scheduler does just that. Their job is to schedule. They schedule places for the candidate to be. They schedule um, different groups to meet their candidate. They also have to maintain contact with those persons who plan campaign events that require the candidate to attend. So imagine just in this week alone, where Donald Trump or Joe Biden in this presidential election, they've been all throughout Pennsylvania, but they're only stopping for 15 to 20 minutes in each of these small towns. They have to know that, okay, if I'm leaving Philadelphia and going to Harrisburg, it's going to take me 2.5 hours. And then if I'm going from Harrisburg to Mount Pleasant area, it's going to take me 2.5 to 3 hours again. So they have to be able to schedule the time and make good use of whatever time is available to them. And the scheduler also has to work closely with both the finance chair as well as the media coordinator. The next important person is the issue advisor. Now, these are experts in their fields who advise the candidate on different campaign issues. One of the worksheets that I had you complete asks you, what do you feel are the important issues surrounding life today? And it's the job of these people, whether it's in education. So maybe if it's education, they come to me and ask me. But if it was about gas and oil, I know nothing about gas and oil, so they wouldn't go to me. They would go to somebody who knows gas and oil. And if it was about something medical, of course they wouldn't come to me, but they would find somebody in the medical field. So the issue advisor is just that. They are that candidate's right hand person who is able to successfully inform, because not everybody knows everything. So you need to rely on other people. And as you see on the slide here, it can be education, business, different ethnic groups, religious groups, and health specialists. Many of these people are either professors or scholars, doctors in their field, so to speak, whose function is to study those issues. The next person in the campaign team is the treasurer, and the treasurer is the one that tracks and keeps track of all the money that the campaign brings in, and they also have to file all the necessary paperwork, um, whether it's to the state government or the federal government or even the local government, for taxes, or to basically be honest about what money they have coming in and what money they have going out. So in the last presidential election, in which let's actually go back 2 presidential elections ago, when Obama um, was running for office. Those two candidates spent somewhere around $8 billion on getting elected to be president. When Donald Trump ran 4 years ago, Donald against Hillary, those two spent roughly $4 billion. So again, this is an expensive process, and the treasurer must keep track of all that money. The next person on our campaign team is the volunteer coordinator, and it's their job to recruit and manage all the campaign volunteers. And on the next slide, you'll see the different volunteers that I have. But here at MPASD, you are allowed to work the election polls. Now, I believe you have to be 16, though, but you get paid a small stipend and you get community service hours as well. So, what do you do as a volunteer? You work the polls, you place yard signs, you conduct phone polls, you text voters, or you identify different supporters that are out there. And if you know what this house is, I would like you to comment in one of our discussion boards if you know exactly where this house is. Now, wrapping this up, the next person in charge is the press secretary, and their job is to write all the different press releases for the media and monitor all the different medias for their campaign. Now, some of the press secretaries will write and review the various speeches for that candidate. Donald Trump, he's the first sitting president to widely embrace and use Twitter on his own. So, what does this all mean? Well, a good candidate knows two questions for every election. First, how many votes are needed to win? Well, as presidential election, you need 270 electoral votes to gain the presidency. The second question, where am I getting these votes from? So, a Pennsylvania that may have 19 votes, that president or presidential candidate may go to Pennsylvania more often than, let's say, an Iowa or a Wyoming that only has 3 votes. So, again, you have to pick and choose your battles. And the presidents in the campaign, or the other candidates, know that the bigger states with the most votes are where they're going to get their 270 first. So those are the two questions that guide every election. Now let's take a look at the next part. So, what are the issues? What are the most important issues? Who decides the important issues? All candidates tend to have focus groups. And what they'll do is they'll pull a representative out of that a certain area, and they're going to ask them questions. So let's say we take Mount Pleasant. So we take 10 kids from ninth grade, 10 kids from 10th grade, 10 kids from 11th grade, and maybe 15 kids from 12th grade. And we ask them questions. And what this focus group does, is it is then their information is then used to predict the responses from all the kids in ninth grade, all the kids in 10th grade, all the kids in 11th grade, and all the kids in 12th grade. So, my question to you as we finish this video, is that a good way to gauge what everybody wants? Are we listening to both the majority and the minority at the same time? Or are we only giving credence to the majority? Does the minority voice ever get heard? So, if you're paying attention right now to the news and the media out there and what's going on all around the United States, you tell me, is our government, is or are these candidates listening to the minority?